Live. Hi, everyone. We are live. Very exciting. So, this is the third showcase for the 2023 summer internship. I'm Maya from Bay Group, and I'm very excited that we have Regenerative Product Design that will be doing the showcase. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Regina. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and watching.
Thank you, Monica. Welcome, everybody. So excited to have you guys here today for our showcase. It is my privilege to once again work with Kelly Cooper, who is the CEO of Open Source Ag. Kelly's company is a nonprofit grow to donate farm and learning center located in San Miguel, California. And for any of you guys that may not know where that is, that's located pretty close to Paso Robles, California, along the Central Coast, right in between San Francisco and Los Angeles. She has a beautiful farm out there, and she has dedicated her now passion and time to helping to donate foods to families, whole foods to families who may not have access to healthy food options. And she also runs a learning center there to help educate folks on how they can eat healthier and grow things in their own home and connect to opportunities they may not normally have, including pantries. So when we first started it's been 7 weeks ago on this journey, we met with Kelly for an hour, and she really gave us a vision of what she would like to have us try to work on as a project and try to envision a couple of things. And two of the projects that we worked on this summer were, number one, designing urban ag grow kits so that folks can start to learn how to grow produce in their own home and have access to food year round. So you're going to see a couple of showcases on that. And then also designing healthy food kit packaging so that when families go to local pantries, young kids have access to healthy food options, maybe some things they haven't tasted before, and to try to make it fun and upbeat. So those are the things that we focused on this summer. Another main component of this deep dive, of course, is that we focused on regenerative design. And basically what regenerative design means is using natural products that really mimic nature and design, and it aims to produce a net zero or positive impact on the environment and society over the life cycle of the product that we're developing. Because as humans, we are the only species that really takes more from the environment than we give back, and we're really trying to change that and shift the mindset of folks who are actually using this product. So that was our main focus. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started so you guys can see what these interns have worked on. We have 20 interns who've worked really hard on these projects, and I've had 4 wonderful co-designers who have helped in the process as well. So it's been a really fun journey. I'd like to say that our first presenters are group number 3, Gabriel, Maya, and Andrea.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maya Antonian.
And my name is Gabriel Escobedo.
And we are part of the 2023 Regenerative Product Design Deep Dive internship with the Bay Group. And we're excited to show you what we've created. So a bit about us. We both attend Downey and Warren High School as rising seniors, and we have an interest in contributing to the reduction of carbon footprint. And that is exactly what we aim to do with this kit. So our task was to design a regenerative urban agriculture kit for local food pantries. And the goal is to really create a fun and interactive experience, all while staying within cost parameters, which was under $20 for each kit. And the goal is to connect people with their food source, so they can really be in touch with where their food is coming from. And we also had to include seeds, planters, and flyers in our kit. So a bit about our client. Our client is Open Source Ag, like Regina mentioned, a nonprofit organization with a Grow to Donate mission. They aim to connect people with their food and change the perception on food and the regenerative design. And they foster an environment where food is produced and celebrated. So taking you through the steps of our design process, in our initial brainstorming, moments, I made rough sketches of 2 regenerative packaging options. So the first is a cardboard box, and I listed the implications and pros and cons of each of these designs. The next is a craft mailer. So the implications of the cardboard box is that although it's heavier, it will fit more inside, which means that we can put in these peat planters that we had as a non-negotiable. We really wanted to include those. It's also a lot more durable, so it can withstand a bit of roughing around during the shipping process, and it is more exciting to open for the person, in our opinion. And the implications for the craft mailer is that although it fits less, it is lighter, so it would be more beneficial during the shipping process. But using a craft mailer would imply that we would need to use seed bulb pouches, because the peat planters would get crushed inside the craft mailer. And with that thought, these craft mailers are relatively fragile compared to the boxes, and in our opinion, not as exciting to open. So we had to go through a bit of an elimination process because we had a lot of ideas for what we could use, but we had to figure out what was best for our client and for the people who receive the packages. So we had to decide between our compostable mailer versus a cardboard box, seed bulb pouches versus peat planters, recyclable packing peanuts versus crinkle cut paper, water-based ink versus algae ink. And with all this, we had to keep in mind that we had to stay within our price range, but still be sturdy. So now I'm going to show a bit of examples of what these products look like. So this is the cardboard box versus the mailer. As you can see, the box is a lot bigger and can fit a lot more, and it's more durable. So we ended up going with that option. The mini peat pots, as you can see right here, were a perfect fit to go inside the box because the measurements, the box is 3 inches high and the planters are 2.4 inches. They would fit in perfectly. These can also stack. We can put them laying down like this or and stacked in each other. They can fit in any way inside the box. These were the seed bulb pouches that were also a good option, but we did not end up going with those because the peat planters were better for our specific kit. And we were looking at crinkle paper versus recyclable packing peanuts. And so this crinkle paper is compostable, and the whole idea is that it would fill the void inside the packaging while also protecting the objects inside. We decided to go with the crinkle paper because it has less of an overall impact because it can be composted. The recyclable packing peanuts would just require more energy, which leaves more of a carbon footprint. So the compostable crinkle paper was a better option in this case. And for our materials, this is what we ended up choosing. Our cardboard box, the peat planters, and we also chose water-based ink instead of algae ink, because Open Source Ag's logo has a various array of colors, and we really wanted to showcase those colors when we had the logo on it instead of the algae ink, because the algae ink would only come in a dark green or black color. Also, biodegradable stickers, this is an option for our client. She can use this if she wants to. They are white stickers that will attach onto the box and accentuate the colors of the logo. Once again, it's optional. We also chose the crinkle cut paper and these seed packets, as you can see, because they are completely biodegradable and can store our seeds safely. So our final design is a light cardboard box decorated with the Open Source Ag logo and possibly on a biodegradable sticker up to our client again. We have lightweight materials that will keep the whole shipping process safe, protecting the box and having it just be an overall process overall to ship. And we have an exciting design that makes the receivers excited to grow their own food.
Now, this is the flyer that me and Maya have made. The QR code that you see on the right is going to be included inside of the box upon opening the box. The recipient, when they see it, they'll see the QR code, and inside the QR code, it does have the little Open Source Ag logo inside. And basically, it just gives us a brief rundown of who designed the box and about us and what our mission is, which was that we wanted to make a kit that would bring people together and teach people about urban agriculture, and then also build relationships with other people throughout agriculture and just learn more about it. And here we have the tomato seeds that we had planned to put inside of the box. Um, Inside the box, we're planning on having tomato and basil seeds to go together, and then along with it, a recipe that would go along inside the box, so that the recipient could use that recipe in their own home, so that way they feel like they're growing something that they can actually use. And I feel like it makes the client more engaged when going through the box, and they get to make their own food out of it, and they've seen the food grow, and then eventually they get to make something with it.
And we also chose this design because tomato plants are affected by diseases carried by thrips, which are little insects. However, pairing the tomato seeds with the basil would be a great option because the scent of the basil actually masks the scent of the tomato, which prevents the thrips from getting to the tomato plant and infecting it in the first place. So they are great compatible plants that also make really good.
And this is just a tomato basil pasta recipe that we have added inside that you will see once scanning the QR code. It just shows you all the ingredients that you would need and then how to cook it. Our process of designing this was to organize all of our stuff, we wanted to put everything on a doc, thinking of all the pros and the cons of the stuff that we're making, because there had to be a lot of alternatives to our initial ideas. Our initial ideas, either they weren't in our price range or they didn't end up being biodegradable. So we had to think about stuff like that and how it would fit, how much it would cost, how convenient it would be to make. There was a lot of variables going into this, so we had to weigh out everything and keep it all together. And to make sure that all of our packaging can break down, we went through every single material to make sure that it could be broken down. Our cardboard box that encases the entire package is going to be compostable. And so is the peat planters. They biodegrade and become part of the soil. And the crinkle paper is also compostable, just like the cardboard is. They're made out of a similar material. And the water-based ink is also biodegradable. It just kind of goes away on its own. And the seed packet is also compostable, made out of a similar paper product as the crinkle paper. And this is a picture of the peat planters and how they break down. As you can see, the plant kind of grows out of it, and then it kind of just becomes one with the soil. This is our price breakdown. We bought all of our products in bulk, so this would be the bulk prices per box. So the cardboard box would only be about $1.40, and then the peat planters for three that would fit inside of one box would be 35 cents for all three. And the crinkle paper is about $1 an ounce. The ink would be $4.50 per fluid ounce, and the seed packets would be 48 cents. And then the shipping, we also thought that it would be easier to make it local, to not only reduce our carbon footprint, but also to reduce the price of shipping.
Yeah, our client will be able to deliver these kits to the pantries herself, so there will be no shipping cost added into our total cost. Thank you for listening, and thank you to the Baya Group and Downey Unified School District for this opportunity. The next team presenting will be Team 1.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our presentation, Grow to Love, Love to Grow. My name is Natalie Jimenez.
My name is Liam.
My name is Evelyn.
My name is Dana.
So our design and our prototype is, as we know, is for the Open Source Ag Company. Open Source Ag is a nonprofit organization that values ethic and careness. Their mission is to grow a community of people who can find love and passion for growing and sharing good food. Our task was to design a regenerative package and create a product or a design that would allow customers to grow food at home in an urban environment, and we made sure that our product was affordable.
at the very beginning, we discussed various ideas on how it would work, and at first we looked at a hydroponic system, but we came to figure out that that would have been too expensive. So we figured a mixture between hydroponics and a more manual system. So for the materials, after we sketched out what we wanted, we had to look for materials. At first, we looked at stuff like bamboo, but we realized it'd be quite hard to manipulate the material into creating what we needed. So after talking with one of our co-designers, we found out that PVC, if you look up the right, it's actually a very recyclable material. If you look up PVC recycling near me, you can almost always find a place that will 100% recycle the material. So we have that written down, and it is a very you can manipulate it very well into creating what you want. So that's why we chose it. Here's a sketch that we made. At the very top, we have four holes where four nursery pots will go in with the plants. A way to drain and refill the water. Basically, the way it works is that you use water with a liquid nutrients that you refill based on whatever nutrients that you use. Usually it's around 2 weeks, where the roots will dip into the water and get its nutrients via the water. Here's our the step-by-step design process. We first started with a 4-inch pipe. We measured and cut drilled holes at the very top and created 4 holes. And we used instead of buying a T-shaped thing or something that have a drain and a opening, we decided just to make an opening because it's way cheaper and makes it more affordable. And that's the final design.
So for the materials we used on a prototype, which is a picture on the bottom right, we used a PVC pipe, which was 4 inches and 2 feet, which was $22. A smaller PVC pipe, which was 1.5 inch by 2 feet, around $6. The caps that will go on the side of the PVC pipe were 2 by 4 inch, $12. And the net pots that will go inside the holes, we bought like a 50 pack, which was $14. For our packaging, it will be the width and the length of 6.5 inches to 7 inches. The idea was to have in top of the packaging, like the logo of open source, and inside it will be a thank you card. And then we also made it kind of like for it to be open up upwards and not sideways, because there will be a PVC pipe inside. We felt that it will be more easier for the person to open up and not sideways. The cost will be $37.94 for all of it.
As for our flyer, we decided not to put any more paper inside. We added a QR code onto our design box using algae ink, which takes our buyer to our flyer digitally to minimize the use of paper. Our flyer begins with an About Us page, including all of the members and what we strive for. We follow the page with multiple small compartments for our consumers. We didn't want to add too much to make anybody not want to read it. So we break down briefly why people using this product helps the start of change. And then we follow with more statistics on what one person's lifestyle change can create for the world. We incorporated a small analogy comparing humans to vines from a book called Lab Girl. We added quotes, and we were trying to show what planting comes along with, which is knowledge of plants and their existence. Lastly, we follow with steps in caring for our product, as well as step-by-step on how our buyers can build their own product at home in case Kelly wants to. I know she has workshops, so in case she wants to show her workshops how to make this product, because it's very easy to make. And thank you all for listening to our presentation. Our next presenters are Group 2.
Hello, my name is Jason.
Hello, my name is Alana.
My name is Jocelyn.
And we are all a part of the Regenerative Product Design, and this is our Urban Grow Kit.
Our team includes me, Jocelyn, and Jason, and we are all seniors at Downey High School or Warren High School. And we take great interest in either the field of environmental science or regenerative design. We chose this internship specifically to further our knowledge and help communities live happier and healthier lifestyles, also taking pride in what they feed themselves and their families.
So in this slide, I will be talking about clients' needs, which is what we needed to get this project started. Our first material is a cardboard box. And for the cardboard box, we wanted to make sure it was recyclable and compostable. Our next material was biodegradable ink. Some examples are algae ink, soy ink, etc. And then we needed to get seeds for each plant. And we needed to choose our plants and then obtain the seeds. And then we also needed soil, and we just decided to choose regular like soil, California soil. And then we needed something to plant the seeds, so we had to choose between pea pots or biodegradable containers. And then our mission is to help people connect with their food and take pride in what they eat, because they're growing the food at home so they could have a connection. And then it's like healthy to eat plants. And then you're also helping them as well as our community.
So here we have the beginning ideas. On the right side, it's our first sketch that we made on the beginning ideas. So we thought of having a box, and then we were deciding on pea pots. And at first we were deciding to just include one type of seed, but then we came up with giving the option of 3. So we came up with tomatoes, strawberries, and peppers. And each box, they would have 3 pea pots, so they would be able to plant each of the seeds. And on the left side, it explains all of the ideas we had. So first, we had the recyclable box, and then we thought of designing the box with flowers and green stems. In each type of box, they would have the 3 type of seeds, and then the 3 pea pots. And each of the box would have a QR code for the instructional manual on how to grow and how to take care of the plants.
So on this slide, I'll be talking about packaging and design. And so here are the measurements for our box, which would be length 9 inches, the width is 5 inches, and then the height is 2. And then we decided to decorate our cardboard box with vines to go with the agriculture theme. And then we also added on the cardboard box a QR code on the lid on the inside. And then if you scan the QR code, it'll give you a description of urban agriculture, and it'll also tell you about us, the creators. And then the ink we decided to use to decorate the box is algae ink. And the reason we chose this is because we wanted our product to have the least environmental cost. And then our recycled box are made from 100% recycled material. And then on the right side, you could just see more info, like the shipping weight and the box strength.
Here we have components of kit. So we chose seed bag packets because they're biodegradable and they would hold our seeds. And then we also chose pea pots because they dissolve in the soil as the plant grew. Here is our information pamphlet, which is going to be on a QR code inside the box. It just says our mission and a little bit about us interns and what we want to do.
Here's the cost breakdown. So on the left side is all the materials we use, like the recyclable box, the tea bag seed packets, the pea pots, and the instructional manual. And on the right side is all the costs for each item. So for one kit, it would be $5. All prices are estimated.
And here we have a flyer. So this flyer is also included in the QR to scan, and it just says like what the kit is going to include and also just a small snippet of explaining how everything's biodegradable and responsibly sourced.
So here we have the QR code that the person is going to be able to scan. And then the first video that we have is everything that the box will include. And then the second video would be how to use the products and how to take care of it.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Next is group 6.
Good afternoon. I'm Valerie Mejia.
I'm Raylene Zamora.
I'm Hector Mendoza.
And our last group member is Emily Moreno.
And we are all rising seniors in the Downey Unified School District. For open source ag, it is our duty to create a package that kids may use for convenient on-the-go snacking. Our objective is to develop a package that is affordable, recyclable, biodegradable, and that represents healthy food and living, as well as sustainability in a fun, accessible way. The inspiration for our package was a Lunchable. The Lunchable size is appropriate for children, and it has several food storage areas. We wanted our package to contain compartments for the various food categories that are offered, the logo and website for open source ag, as well as information about us interns. We also debated on if we should add handles or not, as handles would make it easier for the kids to carry. However, it could also move the food around inside of the container. We did know that we wanted the package to be full of bright colors and fun graphics to appeal to the kids that would be consuming the product. For our initial design, we knew that we needed to utilize a material that was strong, resistant to moisture and oil, and food safe. Inside, we wanted to include 5 rectangular compartments for a fruit, vegetable, and a main, as well as 1 circular compartment for a dip and a space for utensils. In this initial design, we did include handles so the package resembled something like a suitcase.
We ordered different materials to decide which would work best for the package, and being sturdy enough to carry the weight of the food and utensils. We ordered products that were made from craft paper, sugarcane, bagasse, bamboo, and regular sugarcane. After we received the products, we were able to learn about the pros and cons of the different materials and decide our final material. For instance, the craft paper and bamboo material were not strong enough to hold the weight of the that we needed and were too flimsy. We also got the idea to add grips to the bottom of the container and change the positioning of the compartments. We added a few things to our packaging to set it apart from others. We added a coloring page for kids to work on while they're eating, as well as fun and colorful fruits and vegetables on the outside of the box to really grab a kid's attention. We also added a QR code on the inside of the lid to an About Us flyer. When designing our product, we had our clients in mind, our clients being kids who needed to understand the importance of healthy eating and keeping the environment protected. To keep the kids engaged, we intentionally made the packaging wrapped in bright colors and fun characters designs that make vegetables and other healthy foods will welcome to the kids. These graphics will be printed from soy-based ink. We also intentionally chose mini utensils to not only fit in the container but also perfectly in the child's hand.
After testing different materials and adding personal touches, as well as including kid-friendly graphics, utensils, and an activity for them, we had an idea of what we wanted our final design to look like. We kept the package a rectangular box that would open and close like a clamshell box using inserts. To feature the open source ag logo, we placed it onto a 2-inch by 7-inch package sleeve that would go around the container and slide off in order to open the container. A 5-inch by 3-inch coloring page would be placed beneath the package sleeve so that it could slide off with the sleeve so that the kids could use it. On the upper left-hand side is the nutritional label, as well as any necessary allergy warnings. Our first prototype was created from cutting 2 sugarcane bagasse clamshell containers and gluing them together. Using cardstock paper, we created our own dividers for the compartments that we wanted. And from this prototype, we were able to get an idea of how exactly we had to arrange the compartments in order to fit everything inside. Our final product looks like this. It features a biodegradable craft paper logo sleeve that would ideally be brown in accordance to the craft paper material going around the container with a fun vegetable graphic. The inside container features 5 compartments for various sizes and shapes to perfectly fit food and utensils. The product is made out of sugarcane bagasse, which is a plant fiber waste product from the processing of sugarcane. It is food safe, oil and moisture resistant, renewable, compostable, and biodegradable. The interior of the product features interconnected compartments for a fruit, vegetable, dip, main, and for miniature bamboo utensils that are also biodegradable. The container itself is 7 inches by 7 inches by 3 inches. And again, the nutritional label and allergy warning labels would be placed on the front of the package, and the bottom of the package would feature grips so that the container could stand flat on a surface. Every material used in the packaging is 100% biodegradable. So the QR code would be placed inside of the lid, and it leads to a flyer explaining who we are and what our goal is in making sustainable products. It also contains contact information for open source ag, as well as a brief description of the nonprofit. The sugarcane bagasse container itself takes 2 months to decompose, and our biodegradable bamboo utensils take less than 3 months to decompose. Although this may seem like a long period of time, it is nothing compared to the 10 to 100 years it takes for a plastic to decompose. Also, once the container is done being used, it can later be used to compost soil. This means that it is able to be used to grow more sugarcane and continue in the process of making more sugarcane bagasse, which leads to more products. This cycle embodies regenerative product design as the material returns to the earth to sustainably make even more products. This is an estimated cost analysis that we ran to see how much each component of the product would cost individually and then in total. We found that it would take $1.68 to make one package with all the inclusions, as in an open source ag logo packaging sleeve, coloring page, and a miniature set of bamboo spoon and fork. It may not seem like one of the cheapest options, but it is definitely not the most expensive, and it includes 100% biodegradable materials and inclusions that make it appealing and interactive for kids. It's the small price that we have to pay to work towards improving our ecosystem. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and the next group presenting is Group 4.
Hello, we're Group 4 and we did kids snack packaging.
Hi, my name is Rachel Villa.
My name is Charles Melema.
And I'm Mia Martinez.
And a few things about us are we are seniors at Davis and Warren High School. And our mission was to help the environment by helping people by making it easy to help people help the environment. Our client was Open Source Ag, a nonprofit company, and their goal was to provide affordable, eco-friendly packaging that made it exciting for kids to interact with and made it exciting to eat healthy foods. Some things we had to consider is we were making a package that was for 6 to 10-year-olds. This meant we had to make a packaging with a fun design so they would gravitate towards it. It was also going to be stored in a food pantry, which meant we had to make it easy to store. So a box would have been perfect to like stack on top of each other. We also had to include healthy foods inside, like apples, so the kids get their nutrition. And yeah, we also had to include a nutrition label. So if people were allergic to something in the packaging, they could pick an alternative option to it. And we had multiple compartments for more food, and they made it, the compartments we had made it really easy to change the food that was inside. So they were for multiple, like they were for different kinds of food. It also had to be a package for on the go. So if some kids were walking around, we didn't want them to spill. And of course, our main goal was to make it affordable, biodegradable, and compostable, so it was eco-friendly. These are a few of our inspirations, and as you can see, we wanted to make it a box so it was easy for people to carry and it was easy to store. A lot of these packagings have a cardboard exterior, which is biodegradable, but inside when you open it up, it has plastic, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. So we wanted to steer away from that and kind of make the whole thing decompose, and yeah. These are a few of our brainstorm sketches. On the left side, that's our paper seed box. So that side, you're able to rip the box apart and plant it because it has seeds in like the paper, in the actual packaging. On the right side, we have a box where you could tear apart and the compartments actually become a pot. So they can add dirt and add seeds in it and just have their own little pot full of flowers. I also wanted to make the packaging have liquid. So we were thinking of adding wax in the interior of it so the exterior doesn't get wet and soggy while you're holding it and carrying it around.
For the materials we used, we needed an adhesive to hold the material together so the box doesn't fall apart. And we chose gelatin glue because it is food safe and biodegradable. For what we were going to print on the box, we decided to go with algae ink because it is in the production of algae ink, it reduces the amount of carbon in the atmosphere and is biodegradable. For the packaging itself, we have two different options. First is bagasse sugarcane because it's compostable, food grade. And then we also had seed paper so that they could tear off parts of the box itself and then plant that and have it be able to grow into a plant. For the food container coating, we went with soy wax, and it's because it was a cheap wax that was completely biodegradable and food safe. When we were making our prototype itself, we used some substitutes for various reasons, like being able to get it in time and the amount we needed. So instead of gelatin glue, we used starch glue. Instead of using algae ink, we use a marker to draw on the box just to show the design. Instead of soy wax, we used beeswax. For the cost, it's a rough estimate because it varies wildly depending on how large in bulk you buy and from what supplier, but our estimate is around $1.41 for sugarcane packaging and about $1.84 for the seed paper packaging. This is our outside design for the box. On the front, we want the open source ag logo, as well as a bunch of drawings, so it's fun. And a kid might want to pick it up because it looks fun and nice. On the front was where you would write what food is going in the box. On the back, we have the nutrition facts so that people can know what they're eating and whether or not they're allergic to it. Instructions on how to plant the seeds or use the planter box. And a little blurb about open source ag and a blurb about us who made the box. As for what you can put in it, we are planning on having one container be tear-offable as a juice box, and that's going to be lined with wax. So in it, you could put juice like apple juice, orange juice, or any other drink. You could also put in some of the containers like semi-fluid things like a dip, like peanut butter, or something like yogurt if there's refrigerators at this food pantry. In the other containers, you could put various other produce like apple slices, other fruits, celery. You could also have processed things like crackers, cheese, and ham. And this depends on whether or not the places it's being donated to is refrigeratable. But what you could put in the box is dynamic and can change.
After you're done eating, since the package has been perforated, you can rip out a compartment in order to create a pot in which we can add seeds and dirt, water it, and now you have a plant to grow. There's also an alternative with the seed paper packaging, where after you're done eating, you can rip apart the seed paper, plant it, and now you also have another plant to grow. This is the life cycle of the bagasse packaging that we use. After you're done eating it, you can also just throw it away or compost it since it is compostable. And it also leaves nutrients behind. It won't leave behind anything toxic, and it will biodegrade within 90 days. Here are our prototypes. I used a clamshell bagasse container in order to make it. The bottom ones were our first try, and the top ones ended up being our final packaging, where I wanted a more tighter seal. This is our final product. We have the design. As you can see to the left, it is perforated, so you can rip out the compartment to get a pot. And the bottom left corner is also perforated, so you can rip it out. And if it's filled with juice, the kid could sip from there, as it can act as a juice box. And to the right, you have your nutrition facts, information about open source AG, the designers, and instructions on how to plant the packaging after you're done with it. Thank you. And group 5 is next.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Priscilla.
My name is Amairani.
I'm Monique. And we're Team 5 of the Whole Food Regenerative Snack Packaging Group for kids. So to start off, our task was to design and prototype a regenerative snack for kids. And regenerative meaning having a positive impact on our environment with also with a conservation and rehabilitation approach to food and farming systems. We were also tasked to use environmentally friendly and biodegradable materials while also being cost effective. A little bit about our client is Open Source is a California nonprofit located in the San Miguel / Paso Robles area of Central California. They're a Grow to Donate farming and learning center, and their goal is to create a collaborative social environment where food is produced and celebrated.
So here's our initial sketch design. And originally we were inspired by Lunchables because we all agreed that as kids, we gravitated towards the simple and fun packaging, and it provided a nostalgic feel. Since we know that we are marketing towards kids, we wanted to implement color into our packaging. So we actually ended up implementing plantable confetti inside of the box, as you can see on the initial sketch. And we also wanted to leave space for a nutrition label because some kids might have allergies, and space for the open source logo. And we also wanted to make the box 6 by 8 inches while keeping in mind we needed it to be 100% biodegradable.
Materials we use for our project is ink, glass line cupcake liners, hemp paper, and plantable confetti. The algae ink is very biodegradable and is made from spirulina, an algae that has a natural blue color, and water. The glass line liners will be used to contain the food and is made from food-safe pure wood pulp, making it 100% eco-friendly. The hemp paper is what we use to construct the box, and is made from pure cellulose pulp of industrial hemp, making the material very long-lasting and sturdy while also being biodegradable. Finally, the plantable confetti is made from wood pulp that has seeds within it that can be planted by the children when they take them off the glass and papers.
So here's our price breakdown chart, and my team and I calculated how much each material would be if we were to buy it in bulk and how much it would come out to be per unit. So for example, if we were to purchase glycine paper, it would be $9.99 for 150 count, which is bulk, and that would end up coming out to be 6 cents per liner. And a rough estimate of each package would come out to be $1.17, and that's is excluding the algae ink and plantable confetti. So a fun activity that kids could do after they're finished with their healthy snacks is plant the plantable confetti. And all they need to do is plant it in some soil and add some water, and eventually some flowers will grow out. And I think that would be, we thought that it would be a super fun and cute activity for kids to do.
Our flyer is what we made that explains our mission for our open source ag project. We wanted to establish healthier eating habits among young children, and we know that kids are more drawn to foods that look more colorful and fun. So we implement these characteristics into our project while also keeping our planet safe and healthy. For our design, we stated before the packaging will be made from hemp paper, algae ink, glass and paper, and plantable seed confetti. The hemp paper will be folded in 6-by-inch box that will be able to hold at least 4 of the glass line papers. We also use letter stamps and the algae ink to stamp the name Open Source Ag onto the box because we had no way to stamp our client's logo without a custom-made stamp. The seed paper confetti was added into the edges of the cupcake liners as well. We were able to glue the seed paper on the liners with the algae ink. They're easily removable for the kids, and they could go out to the yard, throw the seed paper into the soil, or plant them into pots, as we will show in our next slide.
Here's a small video to a link documenting just a little bit of the process of designing and just all of that process.
You guys weren't able to hear the audio, right?
No.
You guys able to hear it now?
Yeah. This is group 5 and I'm Priscilla.
Hi, Mommy.
I'm Winnie. And today is day 1 of the Whole Food Regenerative Snack Packaging vlog.
This is our hemp paper box that we're going to be using. We're going to cut the top just to make it our own, and then we're going to do die cuts on the side.
Hi guys! This is day 2 of our vlog.
So here's the final design that my team and I came up with, and we made our box from hemp paper that will completely decompose within 3 to 6 months. And as the little holders or dividers that we used for fruit, that will also decompose within 3 to 6 months. And again, the kids could just plant the plantable confetti whenever they could. And as a lid, we would also use the hemp paper, but we wanted to show the colorfulness inside of the box. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for the Baja group for giving us the opportunity to design these kids packages.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to open it up now to any questions, Q&A with Kelly Cooper, the CEO of Open Source Ag.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for all of your work. Thank you, Regina, co-designers, Ashton, Christian. I do have a couple of comments that I'd like to make. One as client, as Open Source Ag, and then one just kind of generally related to the workforce and working as interns. So I've got just a couple of notes for each group. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I will go through everything pretty quickly. So let's start with the first presenter, who is group 3. I thought you did a great job with the box and with all of your content. And although it wasn't part of the assignment, when you're working with the public, we have to kind of provide instructions for how to use something. And also, I think there was a real advantage to some of the choices that you made. So for example, a box like that can be opened up and put flat on the ground and used as a stepping area, because what it does is it regenerates the soil beneath it. What I liked about your peat pot, and several of you use the peat pot, is a peat pot is really good for a beginner. Much easier than the flexible seed packet that you considered as your alternative. Not only does the peat pot stack nicely, it's hard enough that it's protective of seeds in the box. Also, a funny thing about seeds is they're supposed to be kind of cool and dark. And so by placing the seeds kind of in the peat pot, even though there's no dirt in it at that point, it helps to protect the seeds. The other thing that I really liked about your crinkle paper, and that is once you plant the seeds, you would use the crinkle paper and put it on the ground, not over the seed, but around the seed, because the crinkle paper, not only does it break down, but it also serves almost as a mulch. And so it protects the plant so that once your plants start growing, they have fewer bugs and the moisture kind of stays in the ground instead of affecting all of your vegetables. So I thought that was a great job. The one thing that I would be more clear about next time is we can also create really fun ways for people to use. So everyone kind of said you want to water something, but we didn't say how much and how often, that type of a thing. And so the last thing we want is for kids to have something really cool to go ahead and plant it and then to water it once and wonder why they don't have something there. So, but your peat pot box, crinkle cut paper were perfect for what it is that you were planting, a super nice balance. So thank you very much. The second group on Grow to Love. One thing I really liked about your project was noting that you were not going to have instructions as much as you were going to have the QR code. So what I like about the QR, and all of you use the QR, is once we start developing something and sending it out, we want to make changes to it. And it's super easy for us to make changes to something online that associates with a QR code. And so if we say, oh, shoot, we forgot to say how often to water and how much, we can easily go in on a QR and make that adjustment on the web. So not only is it kind of regenerative by using less paper, but it also allows us to correct any oops or add any additional instructions. So I thought that that was great. The question that I had for you also kind of related to instructions, and that is, one thing isn't really vertical. So I'm assuming that there would be 2 things or 3 things, or if you plant them on top of each other, do they need to kind of be offset or string them, or how is it that you do that? A lot of the vertical gardens that I've seen kind of go bump, 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 and things can still grow. Or do you really call it a vertical garden if it's one container or if it's one cylinder? So I think that if it's sitting on a counter, and I saw there was like a small base on it. So if it was sitting on a counter, I kind of get that. But so is that it? And does that mean it's a vertical garden, or does it really mean it's a portable garden because it's one cylinder? So I was not quite clear on that. So how did you kind of envision that growing is a question I have for the group.
Maybe like more like a portable kind of thing where you put it next to your window or something.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit easier for people to set up. If it was hanging, they'd have to find something that they could hang it on. But if it's just like standing and put it on your windowsill, and it wouldn't take up much space.
So I think that, I'm sorry, Liam, go ahead. I thought you were done.
No, I'm done.
So the one thing about that is then we're going to be thinking about once a plant starts coming out of that, a plant doesn't grow vertically. A plant grows vertically for a few weeks and then it starts to go one way or the other. And so if it's on a windowsill, it's going to head toward the glass because that's where the photosynthesis through the glass. And as it goes, is the glass going to be then hot, and you do kind of grow it up. So I think given more time, and just, I think you guys did a great job, but just in the future, we need to think about kind of the now and later of a process. And so on the first group, I could envision with instructions how to use, and for example, I mentioned the crinkle cut paper as mulch. And so for this, I think if we were to go forward with it, it would be, here's some instructions for now and later, kind of what you can expect, right? Because if you think about our target audience, they don't know a lot about what to expect. They know something is going to grow, but once it's about this tall, it's kind of like, okay, now what? Is it going to produce fruit or veg next week? Or is it going to grow really 2 foot tall and then fall off of the windowsill? So you want to think about kind of the base and experiment with how it grows. But I love the concept. So one thing that happens when we're designing is we put a proof of concept together, and then we put a prototype together. And then the next level would be a working prototype. And so if this was a longer period, you met the assignment well, but just if you're interested in continuing, the working prototype would be planted, and then you would see kind of how it does. Is the base relevant? Is it okay? Or do we need to kind of consider some sort of a different placement? If you were to go with more of an L shape or more of an X shape, then it's not going to fit on a windowsill, but it might be sturdier. So that's just something to kind of think about and fool around with. But thank you. Nice work. Am I talking too long, Regina? Are we okay?
I think we're okay.
Just give me a hands up if not. So the next presenter was the third presenter, which was group too. I liked seeing the little shovel or a tool of some sort, and then it disappeared from your pricing. So I wasn't sure if the people should supply a shovel. I don't mean like a literal shovel, but I did like the idea of some sort of a tool. And what came to mind was some sort of a bamboo, a simple tool that you could move things around with. So I thought that that was a good idea. One small thing on your white stuffing, I thought that it worked really well on the video. The seed actually goes on top instead of on the bottom, but I thought that the way you presented the white stuffing going into the peat was really good for anybody watching for instructions. Whereas if you would have put in some dirt, they would not really have been able to see it. So I liked the way that you did that in the video. And then I do think, you know, continuing with the instruction manual, I thought that that was a good thing to introduce, and people really want to get excited about planting, but everybody is nervous. I hear constantly, oh, I really want to do it and I don't know what to do. So you're not only offering a regenerative product, but you're also offering a regenerative experience, if you will. And so that's just something to think about next time, but thank you, great job. The next presenter was the fourth presenter, which was group number 6, which was the first Lunchables. Great job on the container, clearly well thought out. I liked the work that you did. The one question that I had, which you don't need to answer because now I'm trying to get through everybody, and that is I wasn't sure where the coloring page or the utensils went. I saw that the paper wrapped around to hold the container. I thought that looked great, and it could be that that opens up, the wrap opens up and becomes the coloring page, but I wasn't sure kind of how that worked and if the utensil went into, but I thought the utensil was a great idea. So nice design, easy to stack, easy to manipulate. And the other thing I liked about it is if when I go to a food pantry, I would not be explaining what it is. It's clearly recognizable. I thought that that was great. Next up was group number 4, the 5th presenter. I loved the name Healthy Kids Snack Pack because you've got the word health in there and the word snack in there. Just healthy foods for kids, like would not be something kids would really like that much. I liked that everything is completely compostable. I thought that you just, you know, did a good job of kind of thinking things through. And Mia, I think that you asked so many questions on the first day that it really helped to inform the entire group of 20. And I can't encourage you enough how important it is to ask questions and clarifying questions. When you meet with any client in the initial meeting, they'll sit there all day long answering questions, right? By the 4th meeting and the 7th week, they're thinking that you're off doing something and they don't, their brain is in a completely different place. And so I really appreciated the thoroughness and the thoughtfulness of kind of asking of those questions. So good. On the group 5, which was the 6th presenter, regenerative snack, I thought the idea of the twine was fantastic. I use twine constantly, and twine is easy for me to tie up. It's biodegradable. It can be used for a lot of things. I mean, in all of this, I had never thought of twine, and I have my hands on twine every day. So I think that that was really, and the cupcake liners, I thought that was like genius. So really good. The nice thing also about cupcake liners is I can change the shape of them. And you know what would be really fun is even I could do a little like origami almost with a cupcake liner and put that in for something with the design. I thought the hemp paper also was a good idea. And the activity, I especially liked the activity. One thing I would say is, again, on the watering, how much and how often. So I thought to put I've seen people like put a ton of water in it, and that's not going to help, right? And so I think these are all going to be ideas that open source ag can use. They all really satisfied the idea of regenerative design. I also really appreciated from all of you the respect. It's not fun being a person who realizes to feed your family tonight, you're going to need to go stand in a line somewhere. And I thought that all of the designs were careful and respectful. They didn't look cheap. They looked like they were well thought out. And the last thing that I want to say beyond really all of my appreciation is some very good news. And that is that I just found out last night that Open Source Ag has been awarded a carbon farm grant for which we're going to be able to not only utilize this type of product for our mission, but also really set up for small farms and small grow to donate organizations, how it is that you can really create a grow to donate farm and track the carbon and ensure that we can put together then workshops on how it is that you can verify if your farm is carbon neutral or steps toward becoming carbon neutral. So great job. Thank you again, Regina. It's always a pleasure. And thank you, Bay Group. Fantastic job always. And thank you, of course, to Downey Unified School District and the leadership there for supporting youth in this super important challenge of preparing for the workplace and exploring careers. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. I wasn't able to do the welcome. I'm June Bea, CEO of Bea Group, and I just wanted to thank Regina and Kelly for being collaborative partners over the years and for all of our interns slash pre-apprentices. Thank you for all of your hard work, and we're so excited that we're able to have this program. So yes, we have some school districts that are key participants. So Downey Unified, we also have Davis Joint Unified as well as Glendale. And so we wanted to thank those districts as well as we have more showcases coming up. I actually have a question for our intern slash pre-apprentices. So I was just curious if any of you would like to answer. So this was a remote work experience, and so you all applied and interviewed and were accepted into the program. I'm curious, when you signed up, what you thought it would be versus now having completed the program. You just did your showcase. Would any of you like to offer some of what you thought it would be versus now that you finished? If you could share, that'd be awesome.
I thought we would actually be going out to the farm and like connecting and everything. I think even though this was done online, I think there were a lot of ways in which we got to connect with you, the CEO, our co-designers, our leads, and everyone. I think although it was online, I still felt very connected with everyone. And it's pretty cool, honestly, to design something like this with a partner and showcase it. It's a really cool experience. So it actually turned out to be even better than I was expecting. It's a really cool experience, and thank you for everything.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to share? Go ahead, Raquel. I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm having reading problems.
Honestly, I thought it was gonna be like
I'm sorry.
I thought it was gonna okay.
Rachel, sorry. I had a reading glitch in my head. Oh, please.
I thought it was gonna be like more meetings, but like with our deep dives, like honestly, I thought it was gonna be every single day out of the week. So just like getting like a little bit of time off and doing like other Zooms during our breaks was kind of cool because we got to like just build everything during the time we had off. And yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. It was really cool.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll go.
Great, thank you.
At first, I thought like maybe I'd just be working with random strangers, but over time, we really started talking, and I feel like I got to know my teammates, and like we became friends over time.
I'm also curious, another question I have is, how much did you know about any of these different products? Like, how much did you know beforehand? And because this one I always learned so much. This deep dive, I've actually started using some of the products that you bring up. We actually started buying more eco-friendly shipping materials at Baya Group. And so I'm just curious, how much did you know about any of these products? Algae ink, I had no idea before.
I knew, I'm sorry.
Sorry, man.
Okay. I knew about the peat planters for sure, because when I was like 10, I got like really interested in like farming and growing things. And my mom has a garden as well. So I was very interested in peat planters, and I knew they existed for sure. The crinkle paper is like something that I've seen in packaging, not as often as the packing peanuts, but I thought it was pretty cool. The algae ink is something that I had no idea about, actually. Regina mentioned it in one of our meetings, and also soy ink. We didn't use that. We actually used water-based ink, but I did not know that algae ink or soy ink existed.
Anyone else want to add?
I could share next. So while I knew that there were products that were recyclable or compostable, you see them like at the grocery store, you're not quite sure if they're greenwashing and how true it is that they're promoting. But doing this internship and like informing yourself on these different products, not only the materials of the products, but also the way that the different products are designed and the different mechanisms that you could use and how to approach different projects, it really changes you. And then also, I think someone mentioned about the grocery store. It completely changed me. Every time I saw a product at the grocery store, like takeout containers, I would immediately ask them. I kind of felt like a maniac. What's the material? What are the dimensions? Can I hold this? Like, I was going crazy looking at these different products, but informing yourself on different materials and then even just listening to a presentation like this, it completely changes you.
Yes. So we actually have a question in the chat that please, if any of you would like to answer. It's when you go to the market, do you look closer at packaging and make different choices now? So Raylene offered her response. Anyone else want to share?
I know it's one small thing, but like on a smaller end, whenever me and my family like go to the grocery store, especially for vegetables and fruits, I found out about I don't know if it's called farmers market because it's different. I know whenever I go there, they're like, we're not a farmers market. They're selling products that are so good, they're huge. They just don't go in grocery stores because they're misshapen or because they're like a weird color. So we go there for our vegetables and fruits now because I make my mom, because I think they're just so unique and they're more beautiful, but they go there because otherwise they're gonna get thrown away because of their color or their shape. That's all.
It's so important to know how to be an informed consumer, right? So that's what I'm hearing from this is you're choosing where to spend your resources, your time, your energy, your money. And so, yes, I don't know if there's any, I'm going to peek at YouTube if there's any questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Do you have any questions for each other or anyone else joining who has any questions for our presenters?
I think I wanted to share a response to the question in the chat.
Please.
So when I go to the grocery store with my mom and dad, I try to we bring our own bags, and they're paper bags as well. What we try to do is just use, instead of buying apples that might be in a plastic package, we try to use our paper bag to fill it up without any plastic packaging, because I knew this before, but going through this internship kind of reinforced the idea. We tried to go more towards biodegradable and compostable things, because the whole recycling process is, it does take a lot of energy rather than just composting something or having it just biodegrade. And I constantly think about the fact that only a very small percentage of things that go in their cycle actually get recycled. And even the process of actually recycling is very lengthy, arduous, and takes up more resources and water. And we just try to avoid recycling in plastic.
Yes, that's so helpful, right? So just don't take it to begin with. Thank you. So we do have questions from YouTube. I missed it. So we have questions that one is, do prices vary a lot between non-biodegradable products and biodegradable ones? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, for us, the inks were actually a lot more expensive. Like algae ink, it's still pretty new. There are certain places that sell it, but there's definitely higher pricing for things that are biodegradable or regenerative. And that's why it was a bit of a struggle at first to find things that stayed in our price range. Some of the things, however, for Kelly, a lot of the things would be cheaper because she would buy things in bulk. For us, it would have been a lot more difficult, but as our client, she can buy things in big quantities. That's why it would be a lot cheaper for her. So I think there is definitely higher prices for things that are regenerative, but it can definitely work out when it's bought in bulk.
Helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Maya. Anyone else want to add to that question about pricing? Biodegradable versus non-biodegradable. All right, I'm going to move on to the next question. So the next question is, do any of you want to sell any of these products in the future?
I think it would be a good idea. Like
I think
go ahead.
Sorry, but I think for our design, it would be a pretty good idea because it's like kind of an easy alternative to like a Lunchable, which you just throw away. You can, for our product, you can just you know, rip it apart and plant it, or even use it as a pot. Like it doesn't take that much to like recycle it after.
Yeah, I was saying I think it's a good idea because the kit is pretty simple and you can use everything in it, like the box, like Kelly said, and the crinkle paper in the planting process. So I think it's a good thing for beginners, for them to kind of have like a nice hands-on experience, but for it to not be too intimidating because it's pretty simplistic. So it's a lot easier for people starting out and learning how to grow things at home. I think it's just a cool way to get started.
Thank you. I have one final question. One is, the question I like to ask is, what do you know about yourself now that you might not have known before this experience? Is there anything you'd like to share? Something you learned about yourself?
I'd say that I enjoyed designing things more. Before I'm just more interested in like learning about science, but I wasn't as interested in designing things. But I think after going through this whole process, I learned that I actually really enjoyed putting things together, especially this whole project. It was pretty fun to look at all of our options and weigh everything out and design it. So that's what I learned, I think, about myself, that I like putting things together and designing.
I think I learned that like researching, like I just found so many different alternatives to things like plastic and cardboard, and it was just really interesting to learn about. And I think I'm probably gonna be like searching it up more after, because it kind of goes back to the other question on, do you look at things different? And I definitely do, because when I see like a recyclable box or packaging, I kind of get excited, like, oh wow, like I don't see a lot of that anywhere else. But yeah.
Thank you, Rachel. Anyone else want to share?
I'll add to the question. Similarly to Maya, I'll say that I originally really wasn't interested in kind of what this deep dive surrounds. This wasn't my first choice, but when I first got it, I think it was something that since I was younger, I've always been interested in, just like finding better ways to take care of the earth. And it kind of just like extended that interest for me that I had when I was younger, that I feel like I kind of lost because I just got interested in different things. So this deep dive it definitely kind of like exposed me to a lot more of like how interesting of a world, the whole regenerative design community is, and just like all the opportunities and, the possible career paths that can open up.
Thank you, Priscilla. How about one more person to share? Maybe. Can I call on somebody? All right, Charlie, I'm going to call on you.
I think I learned I love taking surveys. Just getting a survey every day. Just love surveys. It's awesome. Get the click boxes, typing boxes, hit the submit button. It's great.
There's a whole career in that, Charlie. Yes, whether you're serious or in jest, I appreciate it because we know you've been completing them, and we at Bear Group love surveys.
Completely serious, completely 100% serious. I love surveys.
We take this feedback very seriously. So not only has Charlie and his colleagues and all of our intern pre-apprentices been completing daily surveys, we have them do weekly reflection journals where they actually reflect on how would they rate themselves if they were their own supervisors. We also have, after every session with us as all staff meetings, we ask for their feedback. After we're going to do a celebration next week, and after that we're going to ask for feedback. So thank you, Charlie, for saying that, because it is something that we hold near and dear to our hearts. My background is actually in research, and so we take your feedback all very seriously. This program is co-designed. I want to give a shout out to the co-designers who supported this deep dive. Our co-designers are actually alumni who applied to work with Bayer Group. So they are co-designers who have been with us, some for definitely over a year, some as long as 3, maybe 4 years. So we've had co-designers on our team for a very long time, and it's been amazing to work with young people. And so I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you, all of our interns / pre-apprentices. Thank you, Regina. Thank you to Open Source Ag, Kelly Cooper. Nancy Valdez is here from Downey Unified, who is just huge support for everything that we do with Downey. So thank you, Nancy, for being here. And we have more showcases coming up. So we have 2 tomorrow, Friday, and we have CRISPR, and it is Next Generation CRISPR from 3 to 4 p.m. So please subscribe to the YouTube /Bayer Group channel if you haven't already. And then the one after that is Introduction to Engineering, Design, and Making. And that's at 4:30. So after the CRISPR one, we have a half-hour break. So at 4:30 to 5:30, we have it's our deep dive focused on engineering. So please join us. We have more next Monday, and then we will do a celebration and wrap up this summer's internship / pre-apprenticeship. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sandy, if you could turn off the live stream. And
absolutely.